you know Dave Smykowski died? Yeah. Okay.
So it was in October, and then Christmas dropped, and it was a painful. It's all. It has a breath. Both. It was a stress. And then 4 days later after that, I had an issue with my back, and the doctor was like, "Oh, it's back for cancer." What did you say? I was like, what did you say? I was like, what? And then, and then fortunately things worked out, and tell you, 50% of people with that cancer. 50% of those people, 12% cancer living. Holy shit.
What stage they were? Oh, yeah. Stage 5. And you know, good chocolate.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got to be in the spirit. Hey, we're on the lone side here.
It's just, this is what. Okay, everyone, we'll get the meeting started. We now are in order and the meeting is in session. Can we have the reading of the meeting notice, please? Ms. Jones. Your mic, Angela. Everyone else have their mics on?
Thank you. The Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Erie, PA will meet in regular session on Wednesday, February 12, 2020, in the auditorium at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street, at 6 p.m. by request of the President, John C. Harkins.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Pickens?
Here.
Ms. Sheridan? Here. Mr. Spable?
Here.
Mr. Titus?
Here.
Ms. Cooley?
She's grieving the loss of her brother who passed away 2 days ago.
Mrs. Feeney? Here. Mrs. McNair? Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Harkins?
Here. Tonight, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Jack Mousson, a fourth grade student from Harding Elementary School. Mr. Kevin Harper, principal of grades K to 2 there, will introduce Jack to us, followed by a moment of silence for, of course, Gwen Cooley's brother, and Jack Case, a retired teacher and coach who passed away on January 29th, 2020, Helen Camp, a former teacher's aide who passed away on February 6th, 2020, and David Smykowski, a retired teacher and coach who passed away on February 10th, 2020. Mr. Harper?
Good evening, President Harkins, School Board Directors, Mr. Polito, and Mr. Bursky. Harding Elementary School is proud to have fourth grade student Jack Mousson represent us as February's Student Pledge Leader. Jack is one of Harding's most exceptional students. His favorite subjects are reading and science, and he also attends the weekly gifted program at Collegiate Academy. Jack enjoys meeting new friends and learning about others at school. His academic plans include attending Strong Vincent Middle School's honors program and eventually Collegiate Academy. Jack would like to become a paleontologist in the future. In his spare time, Jack plays the piano and enjoys football and skiing. He is the son of Michael and Sarah Mousson and the brother of Ben, Kate, also Harding students. The Mousson family is very active in Harding and instrumental in the success of our PTO activities. We are lucky to have them at Harding School. Please stand as Jack leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jack. If you circle around and counterclockwise. Jack, this way, because you're going to have your hands full at the end. Jack's dad is a graduate of the Erie Public Schools, and he met with us in his professional capacity last week. For those board members who remember the attorney who spoke to us in executive session, that would be Jack's dad. Thank you, Jack. Sure.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Next, we're going to have recognition of Knox McLaughlin, Gornall, and Senate PC, the Foundation for Erie Public Schools, and community members and other community members as community supporters of Erie Public Schools for their contributions to the Minority Book Drive for Erie's Public Schools, which was led by our board member, Angela McNair. And Angela will now make that presentation to those people. Angela McNair. You need a hand holding the plaques, Angela? I got it. All right.
This month, the board is pleased to honor the law firm of Knox, McLaughlin, Gordo, and Sennett and the Foundation for Erie's Public Schools as our community supporters in recognition of their dedication to the students and community of Erie's Public Schools. Both the Knox Law Firm and the Foundation for Erie's Public Schools recently made generous donations to a book drive aimed at increasing the number of diverse titles in our school libraries. In doing so, they have helped hundreds of students see their faces reflected in photos and stories that line those bookshelves. They've helped students see their history and their future. They've helped them see possibility in the pages of a book, along with the elected women of Erie County, whom we honored for their generous donation last week, and every member of the public who has donated to this drive. They've helped us all understand that representation matters. It is important that we're celebrating Black History Month this month, but these books go far beyond one culture or one people. On behalf of our students and families, thank you for helping make our school district more inclusive and welcoming to all. Tom Topitsas, president of the Knox Firm, and Ina Fisher, president of the Foundation for Erie's Public Schools, please come to the stage and accept this recognition. And I do have one of the books here that was donated by the Elected Women's Group. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tom and Ina, please accept our congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. That's for me.
Thank Thank you, Anna, for all you do.
So I'm going to draw your guys' attention for
All
1
that you do.
second. So as a person who was not represented in any books as a student, this is going to change lives. And I hope you guys understand that this wasn't just a book, that this meant the world to some kids who are not seen anywhere. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Either one of them are strangers to us. Ina is one of our retired administrators, as a reminder to those who might not know that. Next, Lacey Jo Hunter is currently a senior at Collegiate Academy. She served as class vice president all 4 years at Collegiate and is also involved in rowing, National Honor Society, the yearbook staff, and serves as vice president of Future Business Leaders of America. Lacey Jo is planning on studying business and Spanish and will enroll at Emory University in Atlanta next fall. Emory is our student representative for the board for February and March of 2020 from Northwest Collegiate Academy. Lacey Jo, anything you want to say?
I just want to say that I'm very excited to be up here representing my school and my peers, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Next, the Career Technical Education Recruitment Plan presented by Mr. James Vieira, Dean of the Northwest Pennsylvania Collegiate Academy, Ms. Jill Crable, the principal of the Patrick J. DiPaolo Student Success Center at Emerson Gridley, and Mr. Donald Orlando, the principal of Erie High School. Gentlemen and ladies.
Good evening, everyone. I think everyone might have been a little surprised when they came to their seats. There's some gifts for you, some things we've been working on as we build the momentum of our high school. So those are for you, the Gold Rush shirts, the towels, the cups, the Pathway shirts. Those are all things that we're moving to bring everything and really streamline it between all our campuses at all the high schools in Erie. Again, for those who don't know me, I'm Don Orlando. I'm the principal at Erie High. I have the honor to be here tonight with my colleagues, Mr. Vieira from Collegiate Academy, Ms. Crable, who's down at the DiPaolo Center. My slides are first, so I got chosen to come up first and talk. So I guess we'll get going with that. And as you can see, the color of the shirts that you have, the state of Pennsylvania has 5 pathways for our students to really find their interests and what they want to do in either college or in their careers as they move through education. So a lot of what we've been doing is building K-12 programming. So in the elementary and middle schools, our kids get kind of exposed to all these pathways and what they may mean for them. And then when they get to the high school, we really start concentrating on those with them. So what our freshmen have been doing in their freshman seminar classes, they've had exposure to all different fields within these pathways. And then what we've been doing now is meeting with all of them and having them pick initially their pathway that they might be interested in. After they pick their pathway, then they receive scheduling cards. And then they can pick their electives based on their interests and their pathways and what they might want to do. Can they change their mind? Yes, absolutely. Right? At 14, what are the odds that you're going to pick the right thing the first time? We understand that. However, we do want you to start exposing yourself, if you do think you are interested, to those things. So it is something that you have packets in front of you as well with the scheduling cards. So when you look in those scheduling cards, you can see the electives are by those colors and those pathways, so those students know maybe what might be in their interest to help them narrow down their schedule as they move through. Career in Tech, every high school student in Erie's public schools now has the opportunity to participate in the Career and Technical Education program. You can get a diploma, you get your skills certification, industry certification, and as you've been seeing around the city on the billboards, because also in your packets are billboards we've been putting up around the city just to let everyone know what we do. I think that kind of got lost a couple years ago when we merged the schools together. People were still wondering if we did the career and technical aspects. But yeah, we do. It's strong. It's a great part of our building and our school district, and we invite anyone to come around and take a tour of it and see everything that we offer for our students. Really great things go on there, and our students really have an impact on the entire district with everything that they do there. New programs, what we're looking at here, obviously, we always want to improve student achievement. So Keystone enrichment courses are required for all students taking a Keystone exam, including retakes. As we know, the governor did pass, the personal finance can now be looked at as a math credit at the high school. So we're developing that course and making sure that it gets through the NCAA eligibility approval process for our student athletes that want to take that course, but also be eligible to play at the college level. New, and thank you, Mr. Polito, for this. The kids absolutely love it, and school board. Mr. Fallon is a new dance teacher at Erie High, and if you walk by our auditorium now, there's music and dancing, and it is just wonderful to see everybody up and moving. So I would invite anyone to come see that. And also, as we're trying to keep things relevant and appropriate for our kids in their studies, we've added women's literature and African American literature. There's semester courses focusing on the literature from women and African American writers. Dual enrollment. So as of right now on the Erie High campus, we have 33 students enrolled in college classes, taking 40 classes. That was in the fall, excuse me. And 37 students passed those courses. So we had a 92.5% pass rate. In the spring right now, we have 48 students enrolled in college classes, taking 62 courses. And right now we have a total of 101 students enrolled in AP courses. Intercampus students. So that is the word we've been using for our 3 high school campuses that we do have, our intercampus students. We are open to students going from campus to campus to take classes. If one campus offers it and the other doesn't, we don't want our students to feel like they can't have a class that isn't offered on their homeschool campus. So we have been doing that. So students at Erie High, DePaulo, and the Collegiate Academy may take specific classes at any of the campuses. Courses that are offered only at one building will be available to all students. Students take core classes at their home school. All right, and those are my slides, so now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Vier.
Good evening, Mr. Harkins, Superintendent Polito, members of the board. What I've laid out for you is pretty simple in that the courses at the top are the white ones you see are courses that we were able to work in conjunction with Erie High and provide for our students this year. Wanting to go slow so we can work our way through all the bugs, it actually was very successful this year. The 2 major concerns were transportation, which Mr. Polito saw to that was taken care of with Mr. Brockman's help, as well as grading with IC, which takes a little more finesse, but we were able to accomplish a pretty seamless transition and transportation system to and from Erie High. What is next? All of these courses will now be offered to our students, primarily as electives, which we were in dire need of for our students this year. We will start scheduling actually incoming freshmen at the end of this month, and then at the beginning of March, we will start scheduling our upperclassmen. They will all have the opportunity to take the variety of classes in addition to those 4s, which you can see we've expanded greatly for depending on whatever their interest is, anywhere from personal finance to cars and maintenance, which I may have to enroll myself in at one point in time. And that is it from the standpoint of Collegiate Academy. I'll turn it over to Ms. Crable. We'll talk about the DePaulo Center.
Okay, we're going to slide that right ahead. Yeah, here's one. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come here and to brag a little bit about all the options that we have available for students that are in high school. And in my building in particular, we have lots of options available through students K through high school level. So I'm going to start off telling you a little bit about our cyber program. Currently, our cyber program has 300 students in it, and that would be from grades, I'm just talking through the high school. Currently at the moment, we have over 50 courses that our students can offer and choose from. The great thing about cyber is that students can work at their own pace. They can possibly graduate early. It builds time management skills because a lot of our students that are in cyber have the opportunity to be employed and hold down a job, and that responsibility also they are taking on. We have small group instruction, opportunities to make up lost credits, and our platform is open 24/7, so our students can work anytime during the day. They can work on the weekends, and they have access to a teacher by email. We have some students that text and access some things. We have email through the Edgenuity account and email through our school district accounts. We also have students that are enrolled in dual enrollment. We have a student that is going to Gannon and is enrolled in our cyber program. We have AP courses and we have honors. We're not going to be oversold over here by the other high schools. We have the same thing that we do with a little bit of a little flavor that our students tend to like. We too have inter-campus opportunities. Our students in our cyber program, in fact, we have several students that are in cyber that go up to Collegian Academy already, and they're taking electives up there. We have students that go up to Erie High, and they're taking Central Tech labs as well. We, in addition, have our K-5 cyber classroom, which is started last year. We are up to approximately 32 students in this program. This program is easy for us to enroll students in because we have A/B flexibility depending on when they enroll throughout the year and the courses that they would like to go into. Option for their students is they like to work at home in their PJs. We also have lab time for them depending on what grade level they're in. They can come in the morning session or the afternoon session. One of the major draws to our cyber program is that we do have a physical education teacher, an art teacher, and a music teacher. So if our students want to take those, they can come into the building and actually go to art, go to music, go to gym. Our students that are enrolled in any cyber program, like I said previously, do have the opportunity to participate in any homeschool events that are going on. Our Recovery Academy is for students that are in their 3rd or 4th year and they might find themselves behind on credits. It gives them an opportunity to make up courses, and it gives them an opportunity to do project-based learning within their classrooms as well, so they can make up missed electives. We have AM sessions and PM sessions. We have close to 160 students that are in this currently right now. We are up to 12 students so far this year that have graduated already. And again, these students have the opportunity to go up to Erie High, and they have the opportunity to go to Collegian Academy as well. If that's not enough, we have several other programs. So we have a middle school program, which is what we call our RAMS program, which stands for Recovery Academy Middle School students. These students have not been successful. They have failed all 4 core classes, and they get the opportunity to choose to come to our school in the hopes that they can make up 2 grade levels within 1 year. And I'm happy to say that 100% of our students that have enrolled with us this year have already completed 1 grade level. They are now on their current grade level that they are supposed to be on, and we are working our way through that with them. We have Sanctuary-Based Learning Academy, which is SBLP. You might have heard that as an option. We also have our SELF program, which is a therapeutic program for students who might not been successful in their homeschool setting. We have them come to our SELF program and we teach them self-coping skills and skill streaming skills so that when they return back to their home schools, they have different techniques that they can use to help them be successful. We also have the parenting program, our AEP Bridges program in there. And because we want to, include the little kids, we have preschool also in there from 3. So we're 3 to 21 years old. And those are some quotes from some of our cyber students that you can read there. Questions?
Well, we'll have any board members want to question or comment, but first of all, this is very impressive that our administration, and particularly you 3 people, undertook this and addressed it and accomplished what you're claiming you've accomplished with all that's involved with scheduling and logistics. It's an impressive thing. We've been forced to do a lot of things and shove a lot of buildings and people together, and to be at this stage where you're accomplishing this is very impressive.
Thank you.
Any board members have questions, comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Nichols?
How many students actually come into Gridley?
So that depends on the time of the day. We have about approximately 630 students enrolled. We have our cyber program. Students can come and go as they see fit. So approximately about 370 would be in-house at any given time.
Which would be?
And that's from our preschoolers up to our recovery students.
Which would be about 1/2 the capacity of the building?
I'm not sure what the true capacity of the building is. I know right now we're sitting at about 660 students on our rolls.
And you said the students in the cyber school can attend
Right.
regular classes. Does it work the other way? Can students at Erie or Collegiate take cyber courses as well?
Right, we do have that inter-campus, so yes, they can. It does.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Spiegel?
One, I'd like to actually thank the state for giving us extra money. We've been talking about this $14 million. And because of that, we don't have to be talking about finance. That's all we've done for the first several years that I was on the board. And now we have the time to focus on all of these great programs that we have. I know it seems like Erie School District has had a bad rap for a number of years, but with the dedication of these three professionals here, we appreciate what you've certainly done. You know, for our own children, my son is involved, and all of your students here are all involved and can take the opportunity to excel with these programs. So I just appreciate what you three guys do, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Angela?
I appreciate all these programs. I remember when B first started talking about doing all these programs at the schools, and we kept asking, like, when are you going to start doing the programs? When are you going to start? And then now we actually see that they are doing the programs. And then I saw one of the assistant principals, Mr. Troop, post on social media that they were selling those T-shirts too. So I think that's nice that the kids learn how, to do, entrepreneurship and economics via some of these shop classes. Because I took a shop class when I went to Central, well, it was Central back then. So my question would be I remember last year they sold like the planters and things like that at Erie High. So I like how you guys are selling the T-shirts as well to the public. So is that an opportunity that the kids will have with some of these shop classes, is to, print, like, these T-shirts are really nice and these cups and things. So do you have any programming surrounding like entrepreneurship with, like, some of the production of some of the things that they do?
That is actually something our marketing department is working on right now. They have to go out to a local nonprofit and find a way to create an item for them that we can sell and give them the profits.
Oh, okay.
And do that type of community service and hopefully solve a problem within that nonprofit when they're doing it, or whatever that company wants from them. So they're going out with the pitch to the company to get what they want from us. And then we have to create the marketing product to give back to them.
That's
So,
really nice. Thank you.
The other thing, Miss Mikowski is not here today. She would have been here, and she is our Director of Career and Tech. But there are a few things that they market. For example, at Christmas time, they do the wreaths and they do the centerpieces. They go to Peak and Peak in the fall, and they sell a lot of their wares from welding, from constructive trades, all of those other places. And then our culinary also has opportunities where they support our buildings in various ways, where they actually cook and do various things from the 16 different trades that we have. So that is a continual piece that is going on as well. And she would have been here. She was committed to another piece of the Career and Tech in Harrisburg today.
Thanks,
Mr. President,
Mrs. Sheridan?
I think it's great what you're doing. Kudos to you guys. My question is about, and this is to you, Mr. Vieira, about how many collegiate students actually go down to Erie High?
We have approximately 60 students this year going to Erie High back and forth. That number may have changed a little bit with the change in the semester. More kids opted in. We offered them cooking. That wasn't offered to them in the fall. And again, the dire need for electives at Collegiate, opening in those opportunities up, which this is all about, really provided them with a lot of opportunities they would not have had at Collegiate Academy. So yeah, I know for sure there was 60. I'm guessing probably higher by now.
And your enrollment is what at
It is
Collegiate?
875 students.
So 60 kids take part.
Yes.
My other question would be to you, Mr. Orlando, about how many of the Erie High kids take advantage and go up to the Collegiate?
currently we have one student that goes over. Everything else that is needed is offered within our building. So what we've been currently doing is looking at the PVAS data on who is projected to need maybe the AP classes that we don't offer that are over at Erie, to make sure that the students that are projected to do well in AP courses that we don't offer have that opportunity. So that one, with using the PVAS, could go up to as high as 10 next school year.
And you mentioned transportation, so how does that one student get up to collegiate and the 60 come down?
Right, so what we have, as you know, the yellow buses that go back and forth between the buildings, we have the same bell schedules. So with the aligning of the A days and the B days and the same bell schedules, those buses run at those in-between times. So the students might leave a little early on block 2 and might get there a little late on block 3, but we know who those students are, and it doesn't significantly impact what they would get out of that block. So,
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, again, thank you from us to all three of you for the good work you're doing. Mr. Superintendent, did you have any comments on that? No. Okay. The board met in executive session on Wednesday, February 5th, 2020 at the Dr. James E. Barker Leadership Center, 148 West 21st Street, in conference room 3 from 6:53 p.m. till 8:21 p.m. regarding negotiations, personnel, and legal matters. And again this evening, the board met, this being Wednesday, February 12th, 2020, in the library at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street, from 5:47 p.m. to 5:52 p.m. regarding personnel and legal matters. Next up is the report of the superintendent, Mr. Polito.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 16 of our students patiently waiting for their Stair Climber Award tonight, so I'm going to switch things up and we're going to start with that. So if Mr. Nixon could come up and present this month's Stair Climbers.
Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Polito. My name is Ken Nixon, I'm the Coordinator of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Erie's Public Schools. I'm here tonight to share with you all of our February 2020 Stair Climbers. Our Stair Climbers, it's a Stick-to-It Stair Climber Award, is when we recognize one student from each of our 16 buildings. These students are nominated by the entire staff, so everyone, cafeteria, teachers, principals, get a chance to nominate our students. And they're nominated for improvements in their attendance, their positive behavior, or their classroom performance. So what I'd like to do before we go further is we had a really nice meet and greet tonight. We had plenty of parents there. We got to share the about a 15-minute video that highlights all of our programs at the at Erie High that are career and tech based. So if you wouldn't mind joining me, I'd like to just give the parents a round of applause for being here tonight. Okay, we did a dry run of this. Before I go any further, I definitely want to thank Mrs. Sutton for being here. She's the principal of Edison Elementary. She's going to help me out tonight, so thank you to her. I wanted to state one piece before we go further is thanks to Don, who's our photographer and our IT guy. He helped me out tremendously with printing the stair climber photos that you have from last month and getting the tremendous frames. So I really appreciate that. And those are one for each of you to take home as a keepsake for your support. And I was thank you. So without further ado, we're going to get right to the Stair Climber Award. We already went over kind of the basic instructions. So students, when I call your name, just please stop down, shake my hand, see Mrs. Sutton for your plaque. You'll get one picture with Mr. Don, and then you'll line up with the board up front. We'll take one large group photo, and then we'll all head out together and do individual school photos in the lobby. So without further ado, we'll get right to it. From our first school, from the DePaulo Student Success Center, a sixth grader, Neon began our middle school cyber program this year as a brand new sixth grader. Neon has completed both of her science and social studies courses by December 10th, 2019, and is almost half completed with a third core course. Middle school students are to complete 4 core courses within the school year. Neon comes to the lab and is kind and respectful to all staff in the building. Neon does her best to be friends with all students in the classroom and is caring to students in need. Neon is expected to work on Edgenuity for 25 hours a week and completes 4 assignments per hour while working. Neon has only had 2 unexcused absences while in the cyber program. Neon is a role model to many of the students in the building and will continue to succeed. So ladies and gentlemen, Neon Paisley. I know from the meet and greet, we had a couple of students that are not here, but most of them did reserve. From Erie High, 12th grader. Miss Bennett, an Erie High gym teacher, has this to say about Jackson Calipo. I have known Jackson as a student at Erie High for the past 2 years. When I first met him, he was reserved, shy, and seemed to lack self-confidence and motivation. However, I also noticed Jackson was always kind and willing to help, lend a helping hand, either to myself or his fellow peers. When his school year began, Jackson was again my student as he enrolled in the new lifeguarding class. I noticed Jackson still had the same demeanor, always helpful and pleasant, but lacking self-confidence. It was very ironic how the encouragement he so often gave others was the same encouragement we are pouring on him. He just didn't believe in himself yet. When he first entered the class, he stated he couldn't be a lifeguard, and when assessed in the pool, he was unable to complete 1 lap. But that was then. This is now. Jackson began to realize he could meet the demands and stepped up to the challenge. Jackson went from 1 lap of swimming to 32 without stopping. Jackson transformed in front of our eyes as he started to trust and believe in himself and his dreams. He was able to courageously take part in open interviews held in our class for lifeguarding, and today Jackson is a lifeguard at Splash Lagoon. Jackson pushed through his obstacles and wouldn't take no for an answer. For that reason, Jackson's level of commitment, hard work, and kindness have led him to this award, and I can't wait to see where his goals and dreams take him next. Jackson is also giving back to our school by enrolling in aquatics, so he can share more positive encouragement to others by teaching basic swimming and also being an extra set of eyes in the lifeguard chair to help keep us stay safe. With Jackson's positive influence as more students learn how to swim, it is highly possible that with his encouragement, they too could achieve more than they ever believed possible. We are very proud of Jax. So ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Calipo. From Collegiate Academy. Rhea is a senior at Collegiate Academy. Between sophomore and junior year, she independently studied the Spanish 3 curriculum and took an exam before the first day of school in 2018. She passed and took Spanish 4 honors as a junior and excelled as one of the top students in the class. This year, Rhea has signed up to take AP Spanish Language and Culture, and she completed the entire summer assignment before she discovered that Spanish class conflicted with AP Calculus, a required course for her. So instead of abandoning the language that she enjoys so much, Rhea takes AP Spanish independently and has been 100% dedicated to the course. She has scored the highest on the last 2 AP practice assignments, doing better than the students sitting in class every day. She comes every week after school to take quizzes and checks her own progress. She is awesome, and we are impressed with her work ethic and natural ability in languages. Ladies and gentlemen, Rhea Magar. Okay. From East Middle School, 6th grader. Brandon McIntyre has made vast academic improvements this past quarter. The first quarter was a bit of a struggle, but Brandon has worked hard and is excelling now. We are all very proud of his hard work and are proud to nominate Brandon as our stair climber. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon McIntyre. From Strong Vincent, 7th grader. The Strong Vincent family is proud to recognize Britton Marchinetti as our stair climber. As a unanimous selection, her teachers cited her tenacity, punctuality, considerate nature, and positive personality, demonstrating tremendous grit at such a young age that Britton has her eye on the prize and is headed for a great future. With courage, she conquers. Britton Marchinetti. We'll help you out. We're all about support. From Wilson, 6th grade. Wilson Middle School is very proud of our stair climber this month. Prakash has brought up his grades in every subject since the start of the school year. He always has a smile on his face and is a pleasure in the classroom and the hallways. He is cheerful and respectful to adults and well-liked by his peers. Prakash is a great example of what a president should be. Ladies and gentlemen, Prakash Koraya. Grover Cleveland, 3rd grade. Giada is an overcomer and a consistent high performer. Giada faced a couple of setbacks this year, but despite these challenges, she used her stick-to-it attitude to overcome these issues. Many could have crumbled under the pressure, but she has kept her chin high and continued her upward journey. She has maintained straight A's and is a kind friend to many other Cougars who faced their own challenges. She has a premature smile and always tries her best. Ladies and gentlemen, Giada Kosek. First grader from Connell. Moyad is one of the most hard-working students in 1st grade. He continues to show tremendous improvement and effort in class. Ladies and gentlemen, Moyad Alkar. From Deal, 1st grade. Marianne has shown great improvement in her reading. Her grade increased from a 51% to 73%, and her Dibble score went up 68 points. She is now a grade level in reading and is a leader in the classroom. Helps others, is a role model, and completes all of her work. She comes to school every day with a smile on her face, is a great friend to everyone, and is a joy to have in class. Ladies and gentlemen, Mariam Hassan. Third grader from Edison Elementary. Samia is one of the best behaved and hardest working students in all of 3rd grade. Samia is well liked and respected by her peers for being honest and nice to everyone. She is always willing to help adults and other students with anything that is asked of her. So ladies and gentlemen, 3rd grader Samia Williams. Harding, 2nd grader. Noah has made a great deal of growth in all of his classes for the 2nd marking period. He raised his math score by 10% and currently has an honor card for the 2nd semester. He remains focused on his behavior and academics while in school and is a joy to have in the classroom. Kudos to Noah for showing fantastic growth and love of learning. He embodies what is expected of a Harding Dragon. Ladies and gentlemen, Noah Williams. Yeah. I'm not taking that away. 1st grade from Jefferson. Tristan is always puts his best effort into everything he does. He always has a big smile on his face and is a friend to all he meets. Tristan follows all school and classroom rules and is a great example for the rest of his class. Way to go, Tristan. 1st grader Tristan Sobel. Fifth grader from Lincoln. Rihanna has greatly improved her grades, tardies, attendance, and attitude. She is participating in cheerleading and other activities. She is a good friend to her classmates. We are proud of you, Rihanna. Rihanna Madison. Little Rose cheerleading, awesome. From 5th grade, from McKinley, 5th grader. Dathan has grown as a leader this year. He has always shown potential for leadership and has embraced this role in the classroom and school. Dathan is a founding member of the McKinley Brotherhood. Ladies and gentlemen, Dathan Hatcher. Evidently a sharp dresser. From Perry Elementary, kindergartner. Willie is new to Perry School as a kindergartner. He participates in class. He is kind and considerate of his classmates. He follows the rules and expectations of being respectful, responsible, and safe. He has improved his grades and is liked by all his classmates. Way to go, Willie. Willie Bolden. The youngest of the bunch. From Piper Burley, I believe is kindergartner. Jamie struggled for the first couple months of school. He would act out during instructional time. This impeded his academics to the fullest degree. He now understands the expectations in the classroom and the why behind them. He very rarely acts out, and when he does, it is very easy to calm him down. He has learned to do better communicating and has understood that there are better ways to calm himself down other than disrupting the class. He has shown significant improvement throughout the months and is now able to show positive behavior in the classroom. His performance is strengthening and his desire to complete the work shows. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Davis. Okay, so what we'd like to do now is we can have everybody slide. We'll help you out. We'll slide you guys over so you're right in front of the board. Good job, Willie. Is that good right there? Oh, might have to do some shifting in the back row. That looks real good. All right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, our February 2020 stair climbers. Okay, families, we'll head out to the lobby for individual photos. Thank you very much. Now.
Super cute.
And before I get into my report tonight, and keeping with our theme of intercampus cooperation, we have several members of our Spirit Council here tonight. That's our student group that has representation from all three of our high school campuses. They're here to share with you some of the work they're doing right now.
Thank you, Mr. Polito. So what we have is again, like Mr. Polito said, our Spirit Council is a formed group of the three high schools, 30 students total. This stemmed from the work we had the U.S. Department of Justice in, thanks to Mrs. Oberski and her connection with Michael Outlaw at the mayor's office. They came in, they worked did a facilitation workshop, and we derived 30 of these students. So actually, we had 4 that signed up, but we had 1 bold soldier that is here tonight to share. So I'm going to step out, do stair climber, but ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Christopher Hess. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Mr. Polito. So I'm part of Collegiate Academy's Spirit Council. I go to Collegiate Academy, but I am an intercampus student at Erie High. I would like to say that is an amazing program. I did the FANUC ARM, and I actually came out with FANUC ARM certification. It was a great program to be a part of. But to get on to Spirit Council, first during that Department of Justice meeting, We identified 6 major issues that we feel are issues within the school district. The first of those being the upkeep and maintenance of the schools. The second was the no book bag policy, which mainly affects Erie High students. The third is the homework workload and, feeling overpressured from some classes. The fourth one is favoritism from teachers and coaches that goes on to make it unfair for some different students. The fifth is being dress code not being applied fairly or dress code being too strict. And then the sixth being the absent and tardiness policy not taking into account student circumstances. Since that Department of Justice meeting we had in December, we have now met twice, once in January and once in February. During those meetings, we have a school meeting, so each school will have their own meetings, such as Erie High, Collegiate Academy, and DePaulo, in which actually our administrators do attend and sit there and do answer our questions directly. Then we will have a meeting that is kind of like a school-wide meeting where Collegiate Academy, Erie High, and DePaulo all meet together. During those meetings, we talk together, we find out different information from other schools. We opened up more resources of communications to find out, hey, how does this get done at this school? Maybe we could apply it into different schools. One thing that we've already noticed coming from our schools and being able to talk with our administrators is it's really offered more communication, finding out, maybe there is already a plan in this place that we didn't know about yet, or maybe there was just no way we could have known yet because it hadn't been officially announced. One of the better things to come out of this is our ideas are actually being applied within the schools. One thing that we all didn't really see fit was the dress code policy, and seeing as it wasn't enforced consistently. There were some cases where, you could go throughout the entire day and then all of a sudden your fourth period teacher would ping you on dress code even though you were fine the entire day. So one of the things that when we talked about that immediately in our January meeting, that was immediately fixed, and now we see the dress code being more consistent out there in Collegiate Academy. Some different events that we have coming up is on our next Spirit Board meeting, which happens to be March 10th at the DePaulo Student Success Center. We're having online leadership training courses being brought in for us because we are doing this as a leadership and learning more about what's going on. Another thing we have going on is we have a wellness committee for student reps talking about the wellness at the district level of students, and that'll actually be happening March 24th at the administrative building from 4 to 5. And then the other thing we have coming on that I would like to invite any members of the board that would like to come and see what we actually do is the Young People's Lunch Facilitators, which is going to be talking about different roles and responsibilities of leadership. And that will be March 25th from 9:30 to 1 p.m. at Penn State Behrend. Really, this has given us the opportunity to address directly issues that we see in our different schools and be able to communicate with other schools on seeing, maybe how they do something, maybe we could apply it at our school. Does anyone have any questions about Spirit Board that I could directly answer?
Christopher, how were you nominated? Did you volunteer to be on the Spirit Council? How does a student become part of the Spirit Council?
So initially I was brought into this by one of the NHS executive members at my school. And I was initially brought in because I was told, hey, there's this new leadership opportunity we're going to have at the Department of Justice. My advisor, Ms. Lanik, really pushed me to do it, who's actually kind of our advisor at the school level as well on the Spirit Council, and she really pushed me to do this. If somebody did want to be a member of Spirit Council, all they'd have to do is just find out who is, in the Spirit Council, talk to them, and be a part of us.
Great, thank you.
First, I just wanted to say thank you very much for coming in. You did a phenomenal job of relaying all the awesome things that you guys are doing. And we all know that getting up in front of a bunch of people is not always the most fun position to be in. I think that hopefully you go back and you can relay that nobody threw anything and there was no booze, and so that you are also supported by your group next time you get to come up here. And I also know that not everyone, again, is going to like to come up, and so you took out a big job of conveying a bunch of voices and leadership. So thank you again for coming up and sharing with all the board. This is very, very exciting to hear. I know several of us have been really eager to hear about the student leadership, and so I think what you guys have undertaken is awesome. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Christopher. I just want to thank you as well for coming tonight and sharing with us what you're doing on the Spirit Council. And please pass on our thanks to the rest of the team. We really appreciate you stepping up as student leaders and coming to the table to help us solve some of our problems.
I think we're more than happy to, and we're willing to talk about what's going on in our schools.
Mr. President, I just want to say thank you as well, because I have 2 children and one goes to collegiate and one goes to Erie High School. And I think everything on your list is things that they've all said to me. So I can see that you guys are doing really good work in collecting data on the real issues that the students have and what they feel. So I think you are doing a great job, and I hope that you guys are able to resolve some of those issues that you feel that you have and bring them, to us and to each other, maybe even have some resolution amongst yourselves. So I think this is really good. So just keep up the good work, and I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you very much, Board, for letting me come out here and speak. One thing I did want to add is, even though he is not in here, I wanted to thank Mr. Nixon, as he has done a great job of bringing in the Department of Justice and actually helping start up the Spirit Board. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are today. Thank you very much, Board and Superintendent. Have a great night.
Thank you. And now to my report. I want to start tonight by thanking everyone who participated in We Love Erie's Public Schools Week last week. Thank you especially to the Foundation for Erie's Public Schools. On February 4th, FEPS awarded more than $22,000 in grants to teachers at schools throughout the district to help fund projects and activities exploring literacy, science, the arts, and more. The foundation also awarded a $5,000 grant to help support teacher development. Those grant dollars are critical to our success. Thank you. I also want to give a special congratulations to all the staff, students, and families of Grover Cleveland Elementary School. The Pennsylvania Department of Education recently named Grover Cleveland a Title I Distinguished School, an honor that celebrates the top 5% of all Title I schools in the state when it comes to student achievement or growth. The school was recognized during a ceremony in Pittsburgh at the end of the last month. Congratulations, Grover Cleveland. Erie's Public Schools, in partnership with Mercyhurst University, is excited to present Hearst Secures, the Cyber Weekend, to students in grades 9 through 12 attending Erie High, Collegiate Academy, and the district's Accelerated Learning Academy on Friday, March 6th and Saturday, March 7th. At the camp, students will learn how to cyber hack from the experts at the Cyber Education Center at Mercyhurst. The camp is free of charge, and meals will be provided. Some transportation will also be provided. Complete information and a registration form is available on our website. Space is limited, and the deadline to register is February 20th. Several of our schools are celebrating Black History Month with special activities or events. East Middle School will host Forbidden by Definition, a contemporary dance theater performance at 6 p.m. on February 28th and 29th. Tickets can be purchased at forbiddenbydefinition.brownpapertickets.com. Other events will be listed on our website and Facebook page throughout the month. Finally, a reminder that Monday is a non-attendance day for all students. Pre-K will not be in session this Monday. That concludes my report.
Is there a motion to accept and approve the superintendent's report of this evening?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Feeney, seconded by Mr. Spagel. Any discussion, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Accepted and approved. Next comes hearing of citizens. No one has written in for 5 minutes requested speaking time, so are there any citizens in the audience who wish to come to the podium and address the board for 3 minutes this evening? Any citizens wish to speak this evening? Next item is report of committees and liaisons. Are there any?
Mr. President, Superintendent Polito at the last meeting, when I had suggested that we vote on the resolution today, had asked me to prepare some comments about charter school.
funding reform, it would now be the time that you'd like me to do that as a PSBA liaison, or do you want me to do it under?
You could do it at the time we're about to vote on it.
Okay.
That would seem more appropriate.
Okay.
Anything else? Mr. Nichols?
Yes, as a liaison to the NFL, I received a call from Mr. Bolitnikoff last Saturday, and he told me that he is planning to come back to Erie when the field is completed, and it was nice that he called me. Ed Kissel told me he would give me a call, and he did, so it was a nice surprise to hear from him.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion to accept the committee reports that we heard this evening. Moved by Mr. Spiegel. Second by Mr. Titus. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Accepted. No unfinished business, so the next thing for us to deal with is the new business of the school district, that being item 6 and 7, the supplemental new business. Here we have an inclusive motion to adopt 6 and 7. Who was that? Mr. Spiegel, moved by Mr. Spiegel. And is there a second? We need a second.
I will.
All right, Rose. Rose Sheridan, second. All right, any discussion? And if nothing else.
Mr. President?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right here. I just had a comment for the travel to the Special Olympics. My daughter got a chance to go to that, and it was really nice for the kids. I saw the news run, some airtime about it, and the kids were really excited, and I just thought it was really nice. And even though she can't talk, I'm sure she had a great time, because when she came home, she was very tired. So I thought that was really, whoever organized that, I just thought it was really special and nice, and I saw where the kids really enjoyed themselves.
We didn't have a chance to review this in the committee of the whole. There is not an extensive number of items, but if there's any questions or comments on any of these things we're about to vote on, and that would include you, Mrs. Feeney, because the resolution you mentioned about charter schools is included.
Right. So if I may, so this evening I've asked the board to consider the resolution calling for charter school funding reform, and I really appreciate the fellow board members supporting that. Just a little bit about charter school funding reform. According to the financial improvement plan, our charter school costs consume about 18% of our budget. And if you go to section F, page 5 of this financial improvement plan, you'll see that our projected charter school tuition in 2018-19 was 26 million, but I believe it was actually higher than that. This year it was 29 million. Next school year, almost 31 million, 32 million in 2021, and finishing out with the plan in, if we have no change and we have no reform, our charter bill will be 35 million in 2023-24. So as you hear, it's increasing. And without any reform, the only thing we're going to be able to do, because we followed this plan and we've done everything we can do, we're going to have to raise taxes. So what's important for people to know, and this was reported in the Pittsburgh Gazette on January 31st, it was a report by Education Voters of Pennsylvania. It's a project of the Keystone Research Center. They criticized overpayments to charter schools, claiming that districts offering their own online education program can do so for about between $5,000 to $8,856, and I'm getting the shake of the head from Mr. Brockman that that's accurate, per student in special education classes. Using those figures as standard cyber charter school tuition payments, the report claimed public school districts could save $290 million a year. That includes projected savings of more than $8 million a year for the Pittsburgh public schools, $32 million a year for Philadelphia's public schools. So it's 18% of our budget, and I'm sure Mr. Polito is going to come up with that figure for us. But when I was trying to play with numbers today, I was thinking it is a minimum of $2 billion that we would be saving if we had this reform, if not more. And I know you're going to get that number because you love to work with numbers.
That is very accurate, Mrs. Feeney.
Thank you. I love numbers too. So what can we do as elected school board directors? First of all, we passed this resolution that I was requesting, that's requesting our legislators to work together in a bipartisan way to pass charter school funding reform bills. We can educate ourselves on charter school funding, in particular cyber charter funding. And a great place for us to go is www.pacharterchange.org. You can write or call state legislators and ask them to support meaningful legislation. There are several bills out there right now. House Bill 2261, which was sponsored by Representative Cerisi, and Senate Bill 1024 that was sponsored by Senator Williams and Senator Brewster. You could learn more about those bills. One of the things that was interesting when I went to study what is in this 120-page proposal that was a part of the governor's budget, proposed budget, was that there's some key components. So one of them was transparency. They want to apply and better enforce the same financial and ethics requirements that apply to school board directors and district officials. We've done that with what we have put forward when we looked at the RISE leadership agreement that we entered into with them. Require charter school meetings to comply with the Sunshine Act. Erie School District has already put that into place, that's one of our expectations. Public vetting of the records of the educational management organizations, addressing potential conflicts of interest between charter schools, their trustees, and contractors. And this is an important one. Prohibit charter advertising from saying the cost is free. It's not free. It's on the backs of taxpayers. And a lot of taxpayers don't realize that. So that's part of this, that they can no longer be able to do that. So what else can we do? We can educate the public by giving speeches or writing op-ed pieces or letters to the editor. And it's important that we educate the public and the taxpayers to these commercials that they're seeing on TV, that they're inaccurate. And then finally, we could attend Advocacy Day in Harrisburg on March 23rd. And if anyone wants to do that, I would suggest that we contact PSBA soon and we set up our appointments, but they need to be heard, or they need to hear from us. I talked to Mr. Brockman about the fact that I'd like to sit down with him and get as much information as we possibly can and take that information to Harrisburg. Because again, we have really followed this plan, and we've earned that $14 million. And those of you that were on the board before I was know that with the basic education funding formula hold harmless, that really and truly, when we went down and asked for that $14 million, that the amount that we really needed was the $30 million to make it fair. And I also recall Superintendent Polito telling us it was going to take about 100 years for us to actually see that amount, which is going to take us to 2100. So now is the time. We really need to have our voices be heard. This is going to impact our budget. And again, I just want to thank you for supporting this. And if anyone wants any more information, I'd be happy to pass it along. But we've got to start using our voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Anyone else on this or any other matter in the new business?
Mr. President.
Mr. Polito?
I just don't want to let this go by without comment that on the agenda tonight is the renovations of Collegiate Academy. That's the most significant project we've undertaken in the district in over a decade, with a cost of $10 million, and it will include a new roof, the new promenade, and reclaiming areas in the auxiliary gym and pool area that have not been open to students since the building was reopened in 1999.
Any other questions or comments on the new business or the supplemental?
Okay, thank you.
Roll call?
Ms. Pickens?
Here.
Ms. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes. The approval of minutes for the meeting of January 8th of 2020 and January 22nd of 2020 as attached electronically to the agenda. Motion? Moved by Mr. Spiegel.
I second.
Second by Ms. Sheridan. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes approved. Bills and payrolls. Do we have a motion to approve them for payment?
I move we move them to payment.
Moved by Mrs. Feeney, seconded by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Pickens?
Yes.
Ms. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes. Now we need to approve the report of the secretary, the financial report for the 6-month period ended December 31, 2019, and the capital projects report, investment summaries, and treasurer's report for December 2019 as attached electronically to the agenda. Do we have that motion?
So be it.
Moved by Mr. Spiegel.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Titus. Any discussion, questions? Roll call.
Ms. Pickens?
Yes.
Ms. Sheridan?
Yes.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes. There are no bids to be awarded this evening. Is there any other matter which any board member wish to discuss or bring up or comment on?
Mr. President.
Mr. Titus?
I have a few things that I would like to bring up tonight as we're discussing. The first, though, is the Census 2020. That initiative is going to begin April 1st. The census is going to be available for us to offer, or for people to start submitting. I think it's absolutely imperative that the district looked to maybe partner with the county or the mayor's office on making sure that our students and their parents are aware, as there's a lot of funding tied to the census. It's $2,100 per person a year, so that would mean $21,000 a person over a decade, and so that is what is lost for every person who does not answer. I think we are at a very we're a very critical role in this process because we have access to a lot of these families who may not understand what the census is, who may have lost trust, and it's, I think, really incumbent upon us to ensure that these families and their voices are counted, that they know that their information, their demographic information is protected for 73 years, so that if there are any family members who maybe have people that families who maybe don't have all the documentation that they need, families who are refugees, families who maybe are afraid that this will somehow come back because they have trouble with the criminal justice system, that information will not be released. I think that we have a great opportunity to help our families in that situation because that affects all the systems across the board, especially with the funding. Second, I wanted to bring up, I really encourage our districts to kind of look to the trauma-informed professional development training. I've had more teachers come to me, more staff come to me, saying that there's a basic understanding of trauma-informed at some degree, but still that we're kind of missing the mark. I think that it would be imperative to also include the board with this training opportunity so that we can understand just how the lived experiences of our students may impact their day-to-day ability in school, how it may be impacting some of our interactions with family members, and then how that ultimately will impact things like test scores. I think it's really important that we all know as a district how that's going forward, and if there's anything I can do to help in that, either initiatives, please know I'd be available.
Thank you, Tyler. Anyone else have any comments or?
Mr. President?
Ms. Sheridan?
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Feeney. Go ahead. No, you go. Go ahead. I just want to commend, I was over at Harding with Mr. Nichols this week. We were there Monday for their CKLA and their math training. And Mr. Nichols got firsthand information and knowledge on how the teachers are working together to bring up our test scores for our little ones, since it's only K to 5. But while we were over there, of course, anybody that knows me as being a principal, I'm nosy, but I also look at how the conditions are for our students in the building, if it's clean, you know, enjoyable to be there. And I have to give a kudos to Mr. Steve Herrera, who is the head maintenance man over there, as well as to the teachers. I'm sure you'll agree with me, Nichols. Mr. Nichols, they did a fantastic job.
Yes, they did.
And we were very welcomed. And I also, Mr. Nixon, I spoke to him. I went to a diversity training or a meeting with one of his, I think it was the curriculum meeting. And I mentioned to him that I think it would be very important for the board to also be trained like the teachers in diversity.
I believe I requested that from, I don't know, Mr. President, sorry. I did request that in the email to Mr. Zogsby, but obviously, I don't know who's gonna, answer that question now. If we can contact PSB and see if we're still able to include that in our 10 hours of training for the year. So maybe Brian, if you don't mind, maybe seeing if we can still include the diversity and the ethnicity training as a part of our 10 hours of training that we're required to have for the year.
Sure.
Thank you.
And if it's not, you seem to be saying we should strive to do it anyway.
I think we should do it anyway, but it would be nice if they would include it. Either way.
I think it would set a good example for the staff since everyone is going through it. I always had a motto when I was a principal, I wouldn't ask people to do anything that I wouldn't do, and I think it would show great leadership if we also did it along with our staffs.
Darlene, did you have something?
Well, I just wanted to say that we lost a great one this week. Dave Smykowski was a consummate professional. He was an outstanding teacher, and he was an excellent coach. And I had many opportunities to interact with him, even though we didn't coach the same sport. But he really encouraged all students, supported all students, all athletes at all times. So I just wanted to express my deepest sympathies to his wife, Chris, and to his sons and daughter-in-laws.
Any other board member have any other thing to offer or add?
I apologize, Mr. President, one more time.
Don't apologize.
I just wanted to also point out today I was over at Strong Vincent, and we welcomed the Second Lady of Pennsylvania, Miss Fetterman, and Miss Easley's class, and to watch those students engage just about civil discourse and talking about civic engagement, and the questions that they posed of her were phenomenal. And I think that just the work that she has done in that classroom to just create discussion around diversity, inclusion, it was really something to witness. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that there's phenomenal work happening all over the district, and I got to witness some of that today in the Strong Vincent classroom. So.
And for the public, we had the benefit before this meeting to hear from Mr. John Persinger from the Erie Downtown Development Corporation. He gave us an update on where they're at and where they're going, and opened up the lines of communication between us, and that was very nice for us too this evening. Anyone else with any other matter? If not, may we have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mr. Spagel.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Feeney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.